And this is the cost of casting Inquisition on the first turn. This turn, he can't cast the Serum Visions either because he leaves down Lightning Bolt, and he wants to have access to Lightning Bolt.
Become Immense was the draw there for Anderson, so he's got 2 of those in his hand. Not great in combination with each other. Hawkins going to probably search up a Steam Fence here. And that is what he'll get. So nothing too crazy going on Anderson's side of the board. Hawkins really starting to dig his feet in here, get ready for a little bit of a longer game, and he's got a pretty good hand to do so.
Yep. Todd missing land drops too is really bad because one of the ways that Infight gets out of spots like this is by setting up a hand with multiple protection spells, multiple pump spells. And you need a lot of mana to do that.
Pretty smart play there by Anderson. While Hawkins did search up the Steam Vents and enter the battlefield tap, Anderson activated his Bot Nexus, cast a Twisted Image on it because he needs a card, really.
Yeah, just needs to cycle that to find more lands.
So that might seem like a minor thing, but that could certainly be relevant as we go here. Yet nothing else to cast it on. There's Serum Visions from Hawkins. So we'll draw a card, now I'll scry 2. Jace and Polluted Delta are the cards he's taking a look at. He'll consult his hand. You see a hand of Remand, and Lightning Bolt, Snapcaster Mage. A lot of good stuff over there for Eric.
Lands and something cheap and proactive to do, I think, are the things that Hawkins is looking for. I think he has a Tasigur to play towards as well.
No land there for Anderson, so just going to pass the turn back over to Hawkins. Land number 4 there for Eric is a Scalding Tarn. Might be time for Snapcaster Mage plus Inquisition with Lightning Bolt as defense.
I think in this spot, given that Todd is missing land drops, my preference would be just fetch with Scalding Tarn, cast Tasigur with Remand up. Because casting a discard spell when Todd's got 7 cards in his hand, it's unlikely that there's one real critical piece of the puzzle that you're attacking.
Yep.
And I just want to get a clock going if I'm Hawkins here. I want Todd to get jammed up so he has to go for the kill faster than he wants to while he's missing land drops.
Well, no play doing there from Eric. You saw Todd draw a land there in Windswept Heath. And for Hawkins, don't want to sit here forever. You want to get some pressure going.
Yeah, the issue here is that as long as Hawkins is doing nothing, Anderson has some time to draw out of this. He's in trouble regardless because Hawkins' hand is very, very good right now. But the only way that Hawkins forces Anderson to make a move before he's ready is by applying some pressure. Now, I suppose the reason to not to rush the Tasigur out there is the Dismember that Hawkins is aware of from earlier.
Yep.
I would still prefer to try to do something.
Desolate Lighthouse.
I suppose the way he's setting up now, he could potentially Snapcaster Inquisition and get the Dismember out of hand and then cast Tasigur over the course of 2 turns, but it looks like he's just sitting on his heels.
Perhaps he's trying to sculpt a perfect hand. Anderson will search up a Reading Pool. So we'll see what's next here for Todd. Doesn't have very much going on. A handful of pump spells, which is actually pretty good against Lightning Bolt. But he needs more mana to be able to kind of go over the top of that. Draws a card. Looks like it was a copy of Vines of Vastwood. Might be time to discard here. We're going to get a Lighthouse activation. So Hawkins will have to draw and discard. And I suppose Hawkins can actually play this waiting game because he's not a Grixis control deck. He's a Grixis twin deck. So he can kind of set up this waiting game and say, okay, I'm just going to kill you now.
Well, the problem is that he still has to play through the Dismember. I suppose he can always use the Tasigur to bleed out a Dismember. That's going to be good enough. And then if he assembles the kill, then he can just kill it.
Yeah. Also, you kind of have to like how he's setting things up here with the Lighthouse because he can make it so the Tasigur is just a single mana.
Exactly. He already has access to that right now. He could have done that last turn if he wanted it.
Here's the Serum Visions. Anderson will draw a card. Now he'll scry 2. Looks like both those cards are going to go to the bottom pretty quickly. So Vision's done resolving. At this point, Anderson just really looking for lands. Here's a Lighthouse activation. Tasker going to be discarded.
Okay.
So not interested in that game plan at all. Looking to get the Splinter Twin plus Deceiver Exarch. Nihil in the draw. Here's a Bloodstained Mire. Perhaps it's time for another discard spell. Looks like he had a redundant copy of Tasker too. And this is so cheap, it's almost hard to pass up.
Yeah, he still gets to held up all of his interaction and use Lighthouse if Todd doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So there's a Delve. Here's Dismember. Okay. Eric is perfectly fine with that exchange.
Yep. Just trying to clear the way for the combo to resolve. Although it's kind of hard to execute the combo against Twin. Not only is Dismember an issue, but Binds is an issue as well.
There's a Wooded Foothills. Oh, Anderson going to try to finally make his move here a little bit. He's got some protection.
Yep. And if I'm Hawkins here, I am not getting involved in any sort of fight inside of combat.
I'll just take one.
Just pass, and a turn I'll use a Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Start bleeding out some of these tricks. Fighting inside of combat is a good way to get yourself killed.
That's what Infect wants you to do. You don't want to play into their hands. Hawkins will sacrifice that Bloodstained Mire. Down to 17, but again, normal life total doesn't matter too much in this matchup, so I like taking 2 here. Go down to 15.
Yep.
We'll see what Eric wants to do on the end step, assuming he wants to do anything at all. Oh, there's an XR. Gonna shut down that breeding pool. Perhaps this time maybe try to go for the W?
I mean, if he has Twin with Counterspell backup, he's got it.
Well, all he's got is boring old attack. He can start chipping away. Chipping away against Infect does matter.
Yes.
They use their life total for their pump spells and Apostle's Blessings and all that jazz. A Blighted Agent to draw here for Anderson. He'll deploy that. 15 to 10, the life totals here in favor of Hawkins. Looks like it might be a Lightning Bolt. And it is, after a Blighted Agent. Anderson going to try to protect. The question is, which way does he want to do it? He's going to start by cracking the Wooded Foothills. I think we might have a basic forest on the way. Looks like he's going to go Groundswell.
Yeah, holding back the vines for as long as possible.
And Groundswell does have landfall. So +4/+4. Groundswell will resolve. Now here's a Lighthouse activation. Discard Black Cleave Cliffs very quickly. Hawkins will draw, looking for Splinter Twin. Found a copy of Kolaghan's Command. XR comes in, we got back Anderson's way, 15 to 8 here.
And you know, you're seeing kind of the consequence here of waiting a little too long. Even with Hawkins having a substantial mana advantage, I believe 7 to 4, it's possible Todd's better suited to win this kind of fight right now.
Yeah, and here's a Become Immense from Anderson. That's how he's going to lead off the turn. Remember, basically all of Anderson's interaction is 1 mana.
Yeah.
So he can probably play 4 spells this turn. Now, what's really interesting is Todd is doing this right now instead of inside the attack step, because XR can work its way into the equation now. Here's a Snapcaster Mage. This will be a Lightning Bolt. Apostle's Blessing is going to go after that. Yeah, Todd's looking to pick a fight here.
You saw the exchange there. 3 mana against 1.
Yep.
Even with Hawkins having a 7-4 mana advantage in terms of who used a larger percentage of their mana, it was definitely Hawkins.
Yeah, it's all about sequencing these spells right now, because this is the crucial turn.
Yeah.
This is the one. No other turn matters in this game.
Which is why I think there was an argument last turn for Hawkins to remand the Blighted Agent, because remand on a 2-mana spell is about as efficient as it's going to get. And if Todd has to activate his Nexus to attack you for lethal, he's effectively down 2 mana in all these exchanges that are happening right now. When Todd has a card in play, then that one mana for my spells versus 3 mana for your spells, that advantage becomes much more pronounced. You're seeing it right now. If Todd is trying to win the game through the Nexus, that's very hard to do. And if Hawkins remands the Blighted Agent and Todd recasts it, well, then your Lightning Bolt kills it and life goes on.
Deceiver Exarch. Vines will counter that. Yeah, and that's going to do it because he's got another pump spell. He's got a groundswell here. So Todd Anderson is going to win this game over Eric Hawkins and will look to be really bad positioning there for him. Hawkins activating Lighthouse, looking for a Splinter Twin. A lot of cards in hand. That is the difference in the matchup. Infect spells cost 1 mana. Grixis Twins, well, they cost 2, 3, sometimes even 4.
I think there were some opportunities there for Hawkins to really push the game when he had a big mana advantage and Todd was stuck on 2 lands. Hawkins didn't do so, and it still looked like on the surface things were going fine for him, but you saw there, when there's a showdown, it's Todd's 1 mana spells against Hawkins's 3 mana spells. And even if Hawkins has a bunch of them in his hand, he's going to lose those fights a good percentage of the time, even with a substantial advantage in mana.
Take a look at the sideboards here. We'll start with Eric Hawkins. He's got 2 Dispel, Grim Lavamancer. Negate, Go for the Throat. Is it Staticaster to Anger the Gods? A copy of Kolaghan's Command. More singletons here in Glenelenge, Archmage, Olivia Valderin, Damnation, Muldrifter, Murderous Cut, Keranos, God of Storms.
An awesome sideboard here. 2 copies of Dispel, Grim Lavamancer, Negate, Go for the Throat, Is it Staticaster, Kolaghan's Command, Damnation, Murderous Cut, and even Glenelenge Archmage are all reasonable cards to bring in this matchup. I don't know if he's going to want to get away from the combo altogether, but if he wants to and just becomes a Grixis control deck, he certainly has enough cards to bring in.
What do we like over there for Todd Anderson?
3 copies of Nature's Claim, 2 copies of Twisted Image, a Spell Skype, 2 Dispels, Leyline of Sanctity, Necropede, 2 Relic of Progenitus, Viridian Corruptor, Pithy Needle, Grafdigger's Cage. I think the 2 relics will come in, the 2 copies of Dispel, the Spell Skype, and the 2 copies of Twisted Image.
Good options.
Good options, but I think Hawkins is getting the better end of the sideboards here.
Well, these players will shuffle up here. Todd Anderson able to win game number 1, so Eric will be on the play for game number 2. We'll talk about the Star City Games newsletter. It's your source for Magic the Gathering news, and best of all, it's easy to sign up for.
It's all the best content from Star City Games, both the Open Series and the website cultivated by Cedric Phillips. You get all the information about what's going on the Open Series, including an SCG Open Match of the Week, exclusive deck lists and advice from some of our premium columnists, and an exclusive Cardboard Crack comic. Signing up is free over at starcitygames.com/newsletter.
The F word.
Free.
My favorite. We get ready here for game number 2 between Eric Hawkins and Todd Anderson. Hawkins, a player from the Minneapolis area. We've seen him a couple times today. Got off to an 8-1 start yesterday with his Grixis Twin deck. We've seen him win on mostly mulligans to 5. Don't know if he wants to go that route in this particular matchup.
No, I think not. He's from St. Paul, Minnesota, with 1 Open Series top 8. A lot of his work being done in the IQ circuit in that area. He's a Magic and poker player for a living and really into sports. Regular basketball player, into hockey, football, and baseball.
As far as Todd Anderson is concerned, well, we know a lot about him. See him with Star City Games, premium columnist over there. Most Open Series top 8s of all time. Living in Roanoke, Virginia, 29 years old. 3 Invitational top 8s, 22 Open Series top 8s, 4 GP top 8s. Quite the resume here for Todd. And, most important, married to Callie Anderson.
Who works in events for us.
The best in the biz.
Also, first woman to win an Open Series event.
And just an unbelievable Alabama fan.
And really, really passionate about the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I wonder if her fanhood, her fandom, is that way for their basketball team too.
Probably not.
No, you don't think so?
The Alabama basketball team never has really seemed to capture the imagination of the state in the way that the football team
Yeah,
has.
not quite. I'd actually, we have a lot of basketball knowledge. I wonder who the best Alabama basketball player is.
Probably Mo Williams would be my guess.
That's not very good.
I'm trying to think of anyone else from the University of Alabama that's in the NBA, and I can only think of him.
Twitter, we need you. There's got to be someone older, some old school pro who was
Oh, from
awesome.
back in the day, maybe.
Yeah, there has to be.
I can't think of him.
Not me either. My college basketball knowledge is a little bit lacking.
Going with Mo Williams.
You sure Mo's from there?
Pretty sure.
Okay, fair enough. Back on the Cavs. Looking to get the title this year.
Mm-hmm.
Got screwed out of it last year. You know, the worst part is I know a bunch of people in Seattle who are friends with Kelly Olynyk. So if I want to attack him, I can.
You can find his address.
I can find him easy. I know exactly where he's from. It's unbelievable. What a jerk. I don't hold grudges, though. I move on. That's important. Blackleaf Cliffs, discard spells, Inquisition of Kozilek for game number 2. Anderson, pretty land heavy here to go along with Noble Hierarch and a Blighted Agent. Inkmoth next is one of those lands.
On the spectrum of happy to mulligan to mulligan adverse, I would describe Todd as mulligan adverse.
You think he's mulligan adverse?
He keeps a lot of hands. This one does not look great. It's especially problematic in this matchup because Hawkins is going to be attacking with discard spells and a lot of spot removal. But that's another argument for keeping hands like this because mulliganing is very punishing against decks like Grixis Twin.
Plus, how good does Infect Mulligan, really?
Mulligan's fine. It can play with not that much in the way of resources, but if any deck is going to punish you for going down to 6 cards, it's this one.
Oh, baby, we got a couple. We got a couple from Alabama. This is exciting. We'll get to that in a minute. Anderson may start off with like a Taxian Probe here. His Blighted Agent is gone.
I think it's good to know, at least know. All right, Todd's not going to do it. I was going to say, what's interesting to me about Cataxian probing that turn is the information on whether you want to lead with Hierarch or Nexus.
Hawkins' pretty good hand here. He's going to sacrifice a Scalding Tarn. Steam Vents is here. And now here's the Serum Visions. So Hawkins will draw a card. We'll see him scry. 2 lands there, a mountain and a swamp. He'll consult the hand here. Terminate, Deceiver Exarch, Lightning Bolt. Pretty good hand here for Eric. Looks like he's going to keep both of those cards on top. I don't think he has any other lands, so this Serum Visions actually ends up working out pretty good.
And
There's a Lightning Bolt.
also the land drops allow him to bridge into Snapcaster Mage plus Inquisition or Serum Visions or Lightning Bolt as appropriate.
Yep. Cataxian Probe, we get to see his hand. 2 Exarchs. Snapcaster, Terminate.
And if I'm Hawkins, given the hand that I've seen from Todd thus far, and certainly the way the last game played out as well, I'm looking to be pretty aggressive in this game. I don't mind casting an Exarch on turn 3 with the intent of just attacking. And if the combo shows up, that's great. But if not, I'm at least applying some pressure.
Yep.
Because you need to contract the length of the game against Infect. Because given enough time, as we saw in the first game, Todd can build up a hand to play over the top of even a lot of removal spells.
Here's Snapcaster Mage. There's Lightning Bolt. Get the Glistener off the battlefield, pass the turn back. Inkmoth next to draw here for Anderson. He'll fire up the first one, coming across for 1 Infect. 9 to go here. Head back Hawkins' way. We know he's going to draw land. There's that mountain.
And the second copy of Inkmoth Nexus here is very important for Todd because with Hawkins having Deceiver Exarchs as his primary form of interaction, Todd can activate a Nexus. Hawkins will presumably play an Exarch to tap it. He can then activate the other Nexus with that mana, and now he's got an eligible attacker with some mana available.
Here comes Nexus. Maybe. Yep, he says, I'll activate here. Hawkins will Exarch there. Anderson with a Spellskite. There is a Windswept Teeth. Pass the turn back. Hawkins will draw. Thoughtseize is what he's found.
Thoughtseize is really important now because the removal spells are cut off as long as Spellskite's in play.
Vines in the Vastwood along with 2 lands here for Anderson.
But this is still not a horrible race for Todd.
Yep.
He's got a blocker back on defense. Hawkins probably just needs to terminate this because he can't terminate anything else.
Doesn't have much of a choice.
He needs to start attacking. He cannot play the sort of sit on my hands all game long and wait and wait and wait type of game he played last time.
Anderson knows Hawkins' last card in hand is the Deceiver Exarch. So now we got 2 players playing on the top of each other's decks. Both players know each other's hand. You can see the boards here. For Hawkins, he's got 4 lands. Color is not an issue. Snapcaster Mage Deceiver Exarch. For Anderson, getting a Breeding Pool off that Windswept Teeth. 2 Inkmoth Nexus. Looking to go to work. A lot of big draws here for both players. Anderson will be the first one to draw. Windswept Teeth, not exactly what the doctor ordered. Inkmoths will come across. Hawkins will go up to 3 in effect. Anderson will play a Breeding Pool tapped, pass the turn back over to Hawkins. Deceiver Exarch in hand, picked up a copy of Lightning Bolt. He'll attack for 3.
Bolt's not bad, but remember, Todd's still with 2 copies of Nexus, so even 1 removal spell does not shut him down from being able to draw a pump spell and finishing out this game.
Gitaxian Pro will be hard cast here by Anderson. Hawkins will show the grip. Exarch Lightning Bolt. Anderson will draw. Picked up a Glistener Elf. It's time to fire in there.
Money right there. 15 to 20 apiece.
At least 1 wants to come in. There's Exarch. Anderson is going to use that mana to activate here, a play you talked about a couple minutes ago. Coming across now. Just 1 infect. Follow-up. Glistener Elf. I think we'll see the fetch, maybe? Okay. He's going to save that. Can't forget about the Dryad Arbor.
Yeah. And also, with the 2 copies of Inkmoth Nexus in play, Todd's mana is a little tighter than you might appreciate. So it's just good for him to get the Breeding Pool out of the way. Tap now. He is under some pressure with his life total right now.
Yep.
Hawkins still has a Bolt in hand.
Picked up a copy of Grim Lavamancer. Things are getting pretty tough here for Anderson.
Yeah, that's a big one.
We'll see exactly how aggressive Hawkins wants to get here. Looks like the 1/4s want to come in. He's definitely unsure of himself at this point. Yep, there's a trade. 1 damage will come across. Anderson going to go down to 8. There's Grim Lavamancer, Lightning Bolt in hand here for Eric Hawkins. We're going to go Anderson's way. He's going to draw a card here. Picked up a Forest. He has certainly drawn worse in this exchange.
And not attacking with the Deceiver Exarch here, I believe may amount to another turn that Todd gets. That was, Hawkins played it safe there, left the Exarch back just as another blocker in case Anderson said no blocks with the Glistener Elf. But now I think he can only put together 7 points on this turn.
How about another Lightning Bolt?
All right, well, that will do it.
That'll probably make it a little bit easier, yeah? Bolt 1. Bolt 2. Let's play a 3rd game here between Eric Hawkins and Todd Anderson as Grixis Twin is able to tie it up here against Infect.
Now, Anderson kept a sketchy hand and got hit with a discard spell, flooded out a little bit. A lot of things broke bad for him in that game. But it was still important for Hawkins there to dial up the pressure a little bit. I think in game 1, he took too passive of a role, assuming that his hand was basically a lock to win the game at some point. And it's hard to execute the combo against this deck in the face of Vines in that game 1 spot. And trying to win these exchanges with Kolaghan's commands and terminates against Apostle's Blessings and 1-mana pump spells is also challenging. So even though the removal is important for Hawkins, and it's the best thing he's got going on in the matchup, he still needs to find his spots to get stuff into play and start attacking. Because Todd, given time, can assemble hands to play over the top of removal.
These players will show up for game number 3. Todd Anderson will be on the play here with his Infect deck. However, we'll take a moment to talk about the Star City Games YouTube page where you can watch the replay of this match, this entire Open Series, and a whole bunch more.
Yeah, a lot of content is up on that page, youtube.com/StarCityGames. You get Versus Series videos that are archived on the page, including premium archives, an open series archives, and some content that is exclusive to the YouTube page, like unboxings. You can head over to youtube.com/StarCityGames, become a subscriber today, and get updated when new information gets uploaded to the website.
We got over 60,000 subscribers over there. Best of all,
Free.
F word. Boom.
Free. A lot of people are under the impression that premium content is just behind a paywall for forever. That's just not the case.
30 days.
30 days.
Then you can go watch it.
Exactly.
So you should go do that. YouTube.com/StarCityGames. Now, we got some Twitter here.
Yeah.
Got some Twitter. Curious what basics Eric Hawkins is using.
Those are arena promos from back in the day. Those are Saga foil basic lands. The first set that had foils appear in the booster packs was Ursa's Legacy, but they were so popular that they went back and made a couple foil promos.
Very nice. I knew you'd know.
And I believe the first foil was actually the Ursa Saga pre-release Lightning Dragon. I think that predates Legacy, but there were no foil cards in the Saga packs.
Ah.
Those lands are arena promos, though.
Okay. These players will take a look at their opening hand. Todd Anderson's on the play. However, our Alabama basketball question, Robert Ory,
Great choice.
Patrick Beverly,
Yep.
a real jerk. Latrell Sprewell,
Great choice.
bigger jerk. Antonio McDice,
Oh, yeah. It's Dice. Yeah.
and Gerald Wallace.
Yeah, Dice is the best of the bunch.
Really?
Yeah, he was great.
Jeez. Better
He
than
got hurt.
Better
He
than
got-
Robert Ory, huh?
I mean, Ori has bigger moments or whatever, but if you just want to look, if you were picking players to build a basketball team around, you would take Dice in his prime over Ori for sure.
just straight talent.
Yeah.
Before injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-injuries, Dice was a beast.
He was really good.
He was
You know,
really
No
good.
one's going to remember that either. It's
No.
a real shame.
I mean, he still had a plenty good career in spite of the injuries, but he would have been,
Would have been elite.
yes,
Maybe Hall of Fame level talent there.
a little south of that, but several all-star appearances kind of guy.
Hawkins going to take a look at 6 cards now. He mulliganed his opening hand real quick, and he's mulliganing this one as well. Well, we can just chalk this up as a win for Eric Hawkins, right? He's going to 5?
Yeah, we've seen this before. He's 3 for 3 thus far.
3 for 3 on mulligans to 5 on camera, so sorry, Todd. Just some bad luck here. You think you have good luck right now, but you're wrong. Eric probably letting him know that my mulligans to 5 have been very good this weekend. Todd kept his 7-card hand pretty quickly, so maybe it's a good one.
Well, he also kept 5 lands, Noble Hierarch, Blight Agent last game. So
Snap it off.
he had some nexuses. It's not quite that bad, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Hawkins has at least a lightning bolt. Doesn't look too thrilled with that hand, but he's going to keep it. Anderson will start for the Noble Hierarch. Misty Rainforest is going to search up, I believe, a breeding pool. There it is. Hawkins has that bolt. We'll see how he wants to use it. He also has the Blackleaf Cliffs. Take care of the Hierarch right now.
And I'm typically not a huge fan of using the removal on the non-infect creatures.
It's kind of this weird situation where you kind of want to and you kind of don't, because now here's a Blight Agent, so you kind of wish you had it, but the mana that Noble Hierarch provides is pretty useful.
Yep. That's not a straightforward play.
There's Blood Crypt untapped. The Throat has been gone for. That'll take care of the Blight Agent. Spell's got a little late to the party.
I suppose that's the argument for using Lightning Bolt in that spot, is if Todd has Spellskite, you're forced to use the Bolt anyway.
There is Spellskite. Pass the turn back. Hawkins will draw. That is Bloodstained Mire. This will allow him to search up for blue mana. Maybe Kolaghan's Command now? Boy, that make you discard.
Pretty good mulligan to 5 thus far.
Might be 4 for 4. He's certainly getting the play. Talking to discard. Wow, Blight Agent there.
I think he's just on the Nexus plan here.
Splinter Twin, Snapcaster Mage the hand.
He's got Become Immense and Vine, so he's just all on pump spells.
Groundswell the draw. There's Noble Hierarch. Pass the turn back. Hawkins will draw. Another Splinter Twin. Not great in multiples.
Not the top deck he was looking for.
No, no, no.
And given what Todd's been doing here, missing land drops and such, I am willing to Snapcaster bolt this Noble Hierarch, because Todd's not going to initiate anything with this Inkmoth Nexus until he's ready to invalidate the Lightning Bolt anyway.
Yep.
And he's missing land drops.
Exarch to draw. Jeez. Here comes Snapcaster Mage. Hawkins might be able to steal this one too.
Just a land away.
Blighted Agent to draw here for Anderson. Todd will play that. Pass a turn back. Hawkins. Exarch. Might have some interest in tapping that. Pass. If he draws a land, this one is over. Terminate.
Terminate's not bad.
That's not bad. Todd, a little happy
Yeah,
with this.
he knows he's not dead.
Yeah. There that
Yeah.
goes. Now, that said, Eric is the one that could be dead right now if Todd draws a land.
Yep.
He'll draw. Probe, that's a redraw. Take a look. You don't like what you see. How'd he do? Twisted Image.
Another redraw of sorts.
Kind of.
I guess it's a mana, so it's not a redraw.
Yep. Here comes Inkmoth.
Todd can still just leave up Vines, though.
Yes, he's okay. Back and forth on this game. Hawkins going to slow roll himself a little bit. There's a land. Vines it. Nope. Here come the beatdowns. Anderson, he draws a land. It's over.
I don't even think he needs the land. He activates the Nexus.
Oh,
and
he's got Become
immense.
Immense. Activate, fire, Become Immense. 6, 7, 8. Already got 2. In fact, you guys can't see us. Tom Ross already knows it's over. He knows the math. Todd Anderson going to win this match here over Eric Hawkins, 2-1. Hawkins almost got there again on a mulligan to 5.
Yeah, he'll have to settle for being 3-1 in games where he's mulligan to 5 on camera thus far. But Todd able to get it done there. Very tight third game. So that was great.
Yeah.
Just a very interesting match. Game 1 to me was the most interesting of the bunch, where it's a role assessment thing, it's an inevitability thing. Hawkins was in a spot there where it's not totally clear how you're supposed to proceed. He can either try to sit on his heels for a long time and control the game indefinitely,